Welcome to the Live Life Well podcast for busy women. As a busy mum myself, I understand how hard it can be to look after ourselves. But hopefully this is a space for you to take time out, find connection, and get some simple takeaways to live life well, mind, body and soul. Let's jump in. Well, hello lovelies and happy new year. It's Jo here from Live Life Well, and if you're new around here, I am a wellness coach for busy women, because aren't we all busy? And it's my absolute passion to hold space and encourage us as busy women to take care of ourselves and feel as good as we possibly can. And that's really why I set up this podcast, to be able to have conversations around our health and well-being and share really simple tips and takeaways that you can easily apply to your busy life, just to help you feel well and enjoy life as much as you deserve, and to take care of yourself as much as you take care of everyone else around you. And from now on, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently around here. Over the last couple of years, I've had the absolute privilege of having some amazing guests on, and I hope you've had time to check out some of those episodes. If not, they're all available for you wherever you listen to your podcasts. But I've not really shared much about my story and my experiences and my knowledge, so I'm really excited to be doing that a bit more this year. So the kind of rhythm of the Live Life Well podcast from now on going forward is that you'll get a shorter weekly drop from me, looking at a certain aspect of our health and well-being. And then we're still going to have monthly amazing guests bringing their knowledge and expertise about different topics. So please message me on Instagram or email me with the sort of topics you'd like us to talk about. What are the things in the health and well-being spaces that you're hearing about, you're not sure about, you're feeling overwhelmed about? And let's just cut through all the noise and figure out what we want to take away, what we want to leave, what's going to help us, what we can apply to our lives easily. And just figure this stuff out together. That's what I love to do. So I don't know about you and how you're feeling about this new year. Obviously, it's traditionally been a time of year where we have set sort of New Year's resolutions. And I'm so glad to hear more and more people saying, especially in the kind of well-being space, that it's just not our thing anymore, is it? Set these massive goals at the start of the year when it's still cold and dark in our part of the Northern Hemisphere, when actually all we want to do is hibernate. And then we create these unrealistic goals, we can't sustain them, and then we just give up, and then we feel bad about ourselves. And that's the worst thing I feel about setting unattainable goals, is that how it affects our sort of feelings of self-worth. That's the last thing we want to happen, because when we don't feel great about ourselves, the less likely we are to want to do the things that are going to help us feel good. But I do think there is a certain energy about there being a fresh start, the end of one year, the start of another one. We've even had a bit of time over Christmas and New Year to reflect on how the last year has gone, to think forward into the new year, and about how we want to feel, how we want to show up for ourselves, maybe thinking about what habits do we know do support us to feel good. So I'm a big fan of that. So with all that in mind, I thought I would just do a short episode about setting our intentions for the year ahead, sort of setting our compass points, setting our sails in the direction we want to go, because there's never any harm in that. In order for us to ever move towards those goals and intentions, we need to figure out what habits are going to get us there, because actually it's our small daily habits. They are where the magic happens. They are where the sustainable shifts and changes happen that we can continue with and not get disappointed with ourselves, but instead feel really proud, like we're doing this, we're showing up, we're smashing it. So I want us just to think about today, during this call, if you're listening, whether you're driving, you're making dinner, or if you are able to sit with a notebook, a notepad and a pencil, that would be even better if you can do that. But I recognise that's not always easy. But even if you're just using this time to think about and mull these things over, that just helps us to set our intentions and sort of set our sat-nav for the year ahead. And hopefully by the end of the episode, you'll feel like you've got a bit of a plan that feels manageable, doable, and you're excited. You're not feeling overwhelmed and disappointed. You're feeling excited about the year ahead and really take care of yourself as you deserve to do. So I wonder if you are listening, if you have set a kind of word for the year, or you've thought about how you want to feel this year. I think it's so much more powerful than thinking how, what are my goals or how do I want to look this year, rather than thinking like if I want to lose weight or I want to eat less rubbish. Flip that and make it a more positive focus. So how do you want to feel and how do you want to nourish yourself? That's always a much better way to look at it, having a positive focus and caring about ourselves rather than restricting ourselves or like punishing ourselves is always much better. If you're watching this on YouTube, my dog is like standing on a crate behind me. He's just making me giggle. So sorry if I'm getting distracted. So if you have got a word for the year, I love that. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I do kind of love it in terms of us having a focus. Having a focus for our year and our time and our habits. This helps us stay on track to where we want to go, doesn't it? So my word, I've cheated a little bit. My 2 words for the year are colour and peace. So colour was a bit of a surprise, to be honest, but I just realised that I felt my life was a little bit dull and I wanted more colour and vibrancy in it. I want that to be reflected in my clothes and my home decor and just to be a bit more, creative and, a bit more exciting in my choices. And I think that'll just help. That will affect my well-being. That'll help me feel better if I am dressing and surrounding myself with colour and inspiration. Another one is peace. I think that might be a bit of a reaction to the lack of peace in the world on the news. But I know that I cannot do much good in my world if I don't create a place of peace that I operate from. So for me, that means things like prioritizing rest and, creating times of rest, rhythms of rest in my days and my week, so that I can then experience peace and work from a place of peace in whatever I do and not be too impacted by the lack of peace around me. Because things will happen, we'll hear the news, we'll be aware of things that are going on, and that's right, we should be, but we can't be sort of paralyzed by those things. We want to make a difference, we want to take care of ourselves and people around us and make a difference where it's important to. So we need to be possible to do that. So that's mine, and I'd love to hear yours. So again, send a message in response to this podcast, message me on socials. I'd love to hear what your word for the year is. But also, in thinking about our word and our focus for the year, it really helps us attach our emotions to our goals and our habits. There has to be a reason for us making changes in our life. And we will only stay motivated and focused if we know why we're doing it. When it feels hard, when we feel like we want to give up, we need to attach that to our why. So a really good way to do that is think about how you want to feel this year. Picture yourself at the end of this year, coming up for Christmas time, the start of another new year. Just imagine yourself. If you're a visual person, you'll picture yourself. What do you look like? What are you dressing like? What are you eating? What are your daily habits? What does your diary look like? Are you putting in time to cook healthy food and move your body and connect with positive people and sleep and rest and create and learn? Because you're going to have to do some of these things if you want to be looking and feeling well in a year's time. And then today, what we're going to do, we're going to break that down into actionable small steps that are going to be our path to get us to where we want to be in a year's time and how we want to be feeling. It might be that you want to have more energy. You might want to learn a new skill. You might want to focus more on cooking at home. You might want to join a gym or start a new class. You might want to see your favourite friends more. So in order to do any of those things, they're all great goals, but we need to have a plan and have steps to get there. And I love focusing on habits rather than goals or tasks or just a bit of an airy-fairy idea, because they are the building blocks of, like I said, making changes in our life. And the thing is, once we do something for a certain time, so say 30 days, 60 days, it does become a habit, and it takes a lot less energy to decide to do that thing or just to do it. It becomes natural. We do it without thinking. And then we can stack new, healthy, joyful habits on top of those ones we've already formed. So today I want us to think about the sort of 6 different areas of our well-being. These are the sort of 6 pillars that I look at a lot with my clients. And as I'm talking through them and what each one kind of involves, I want you to be thinking or writing down, which Out of these 6 areas of our well-being, what are the 2 or 3 that you know you need to prioritize the most at the moment? It may be that you're already focused on them, but you want to just keep focusing on them and building on them, or it might be that you've just neglected them a bit and you want to refocus on them. And there's nothing wrong or right here. There's absolutely no judgment. We have to be careful to not be harsh and critical on ourselves. We're just noticing right now. And this is something that I do monthly in my Food Freedom Forever coaching group program. We do a monthly goal and intention setting exercise using these kind of pillars. So if that's something you're interested in, I will pop the link in the comments for the show. And I'll also pop in a link to a worksheet that I use for this that you can download and use. And you can go and print that off now, or you can just, like I say, jot it down in a notebook. But we do that every month together, and it's lovely having this sort of space and accountability to do that together and encourage each other and cheer each other on. But for now, I am your cheerleader. I am holding space for you to do this, and I believe in you. So the 6 areas of our wellbeing I want us to think about are our nutrition, so how we are nourishing ourselves. What are we feeding ourselves? Is it food that supports our energy and our well-being? Does it promote health and strength and support our immune system and our focus? All those gorgeous things we need to live life well. So are you therefore prioritizing that in terms of making time to do your big weekly healthy shop? Are you making time to meal plan and meal prep? Are you around other people who support you with that? That's nutrition. That's a biggie. It's something we love to talk about here. We love talking about food. And the next one is movement. Movement is so important, not just for our physical well-being, but our mental health as well. All of these areas are so interconnected. So are you making time to move your body in a way that feels joyful? There's no point starting a new class or joining a gym if you absolutely hate it. You just will not sustain that new habit. But how do you love to move your body? And in the winter, when it is darker and colder, I personally love choosing more gentle forms of exercise. When we're doing things like long distance running, HIIT workouts, those sort of intense types of exercise, it can actually stressful for our bodies, sometimes in a good way. Not all stress is bad, but I think in winter, when life already feels quite heavy, it's nice to choose something gentler. So in this season, what ways do you need to move your body that will be fun for you? So I love at this time of year, walking, wrapping up, getting outside, doing more sort of gentle things like stretching, yoga, Pilates, and also some strength workouts, which don't need to be long or strenuous. A short strength workout where I'm still supporting my muscle and bone density, which is really important when we're plus 40, but doesn't have to be really stressful and strenuous. But then thinking about how often and how much do you want to do that? Like for you, 3 times a week might be an improvement, and that's amazing. If you can commit to that, there's no point saying you're going to do it 7 days a week if you're doing it 1 day a week just now. That's going to be too much. Personally, I like to aim for 30 minutes of movement 5 times a week, and that feels kind of manageable for me. But what would be a little bit of a stretch for you? What would feel in yourself, but it is manageable and sustainable? The next one is hydration, a simple one, but a really important one. Are you hydrating yourself enough? When we are not getting enough water, it will always show up. It'll show up in us having brain fog, feeling tired, feeling lethargic. It'll show up in our skin. Our skin will not be as glowing and plump. It affects our focus. It affects our appetite. We may think we're hungry and be craving snacks when actually we're just thirsty. So how much are you aiming to drink a day, and how are you going to do that? I think around 2 litres is a good goal for most people. But even again, if you're drinking like half a litre a day, how can you increase that to 1 litre, 1.5 litres? It might help you to get a big bottle that's like a litre size, and you'll drink 2 of them and you'll hit your goal. Or you might want to drink 1 of them, but also have herbal teas, a bit of cordial, things like that. Or you might want to use like an app or a tracker to help your hydration. But I guarantee if you just focus on that one thing this month, you will feel so much better, and you'll be making better food choices. You'll be more energized. You'll have more focus. So it's a really important one. The next one is our rest and sleep. So slightly different things, but I've popped them under one category. Again, a bit like hydration, sleep is such a foundation to our well-being and also impacts every area of our life. Again, if we're not getting enough sleep, it will show up in similar things to water. So focus, energy, food choices. If we don't sleep well, our body's going to crave sweet, sugary, processed snacks. to give us that boost, that hit of energy, but then we'll get that nasty crash afterwards and be stuck in that snack shame cycle. So when we are well rested and we have a good sleep, we will make better choices. We'll have more energy to do all the things we want to do. And at this time of year, we probably also want to sleep a bit more than normal. We might be craving some early nights. So absolutely give in to those cravings, listen to your body, have some early nights and stock up on your sleep. It's really important, to be in bed at least 8 hours, to try and get at least 7 hours sleep. But also something really important, especially at this time of year, to help our circadian rhythm and our sleep cycles and to get a deep sleep, is to try and avoid screens after 11 p.m. If we have that blue light hitting our eyes after that time, it really disrupts our circadian rhythm and really disrupts our sort of choices, our willpower the next day. So trying to be in bed off screens by 11 and having some wind down time before that. But also when you get up, trying to get daylight on your face as soon as you can to set those good circadian rhythms. But also thinking about rest. So I mentioned my goal being peace this year and how important rest is for me to achieve that. So thinking about sort of daily moments and weekly rhythms of rest. I like to try and take 5-10 minutes a day, whether it's first thing in the morning or lunchtime, just to breathe, read, journal, to have those little micro moments of rest, which are really important for just soothing our nervous system, letting us know we're safe and being at peace within ourselves, but also having a longer weekly period of rest. So we love to take a kind of Sabbath in our home. We do have a faith, but I also just think it's a good idea to have a day of the week where you switch off and we don't just keep going. We're not robots. We need to rest. And you know what? I just love those days. I look forward to them. So on a Sunday, we might go to church in the morning, we might not. And then we will just have a day with no to-do lists, no pressure, try and avoid screens as much as we can. And we'll do things like go for a walk, playing a board game together. And then we'll have some time to ourselves. So me and the kids and my hubby will go off and we'll read or draw, do jigsaws. That's my new thing. And I just so look forward to those days, and they really just recharge our batteries for the week. And then we're working from a place of rest, not working to get a rest. And it just sets your week up so well. And I really notice if I don't have that. So maybe thinking about when can you factor in times of rest and just give yourself that beautiful gift. Life is not just about doing all the time. And also thinking through the year, planning in special times of rest, like going on a retreat, going on a holiday. It's really important to have those extended times of rest. Okay, the next pillar for our well-being is learning and purpose. And it's quite a nice time of year to think about, are there things this year I want to work towards or learn? Is there a new skill I want to learn, a new course I want to take, a qualification? And if that's the area you're noticing that you've neglected the most, then thinking about how can I plan in to move that forward this year? Like to book onto something, speak to someone about it, book some lessons, or just dig into a topic and do some research. But also purpose, thinking about what are my values. There's a really great Brené Brown values exercise you can Google, and I can pop the link in the notes. But just knowing what your values are and what you want to work toward and what you want your life to be about. Because if we don't really know that, we don't really have that anchor and that compass point to work towards and know what we want to spend our time doing. So that's a good one to dig into. And the final pillar I was going to mention today is connection and community. It's all very well us working on our well-being, working on our health in isolation, and there is time for that. But really what I have noticed in my work is that the real growth, the real magic, the real beauty of life happens in connection and community. So if you're feeling a little bit lonely, a little bit isolated, maybe thinking about what can you do about that this year? Are there friendships that make you feel good that you've neglected a bit, and prioritizing them and booking in a coffee with one of your best pals this month? Are there community groups you'd like to get involved in? Get to know your neighbours, connecting with things, maybe a networking group if you're a woman in business like myself. They're great spaces to be in. So if that's an area you feel you've neglected and you want to focus on more this month and this year to work towards your goal, whatever that is, then think about how you can build habits that help you get towards that. So just for another example of my words for the year are colour and peace. I want to be around people who are vibrant and creative and exciting, who also feel safe. They also feel safe to my nervous system and don't cause me lots of stress and drama. So they all tie in, they're all connected. So if you've identified the sort of 2 or 3 pillars that you want to focus on this month to move you towards your intention for the year, I just want you to spend 5 minutes now thinking about what are the habits that are going to get you there then. And what I'd like you to do is grab your diary or print out like a monthly planner. I will also link a template for that in the notes. And just imagining your ideal self in a year, how you're feeling, how you're looking after yourself. What do you need to do daily and weekly to move you towards that? So going back to the example of nutrition, if this year you want to focus on your gut health, you want to nourish yourself well, so that that shows up and you just feel better and healthier and stronger and more vibrant, what are the daily and weekly habits that are going to move you towards that? So for sure, they are the non-glamorous things of making sure you have lots of healthy food in your cupboard. So doing your weekly shop, if that's online or in person, maybe a day a week, like a Sunday night or a Saturday morning where you prep 3 or 4 meals for the week. The Sunday night prepping like the next 3 or 4 healthy breakfasts or lunch. And just simple things like that, maybe trying one new recipe a week. Maybe it's one day a week where you don't have meat. So whatever your goal is, thinking, what does someone who is like the person I want to be do on a daily basis to become like that? And fill that in for your week and your month ahead, and then just start doing it. And the magic thing that happens is when we start doing these things, they then become habits, and then we do them without thinking, which is the goal. And then if there's things that don't fit within that sort of daily schedule, also next to that, write a to-do list of things you need to do to action those habits that might otherwise hold you back. Like maybe it's a subscription to an app like Deliciously Ella, where you'll get lots of lovely plant-based recipes. Maybe it is following up on that gym membership that you've been meaning to join. Maybe it is signing up for that new course that will teach you the skill you want to learn. So if there's something you need to do to get started, write that down, prioritize it, and then plan it into your weekly and monthly diary. So I hope that was helpful, just having a bit of space to think about how you want to take care of yourself this year, because for sure, if one thing is true, you deserve to be taken care of, and we don't need to wait for someone else to do that for us. We can do that for ourselves. You deserve the time and the care it takes to do that, and you deserve to feel as well as you possibly can. You might have forgotten how good you can feel when you do these little simple things. But also, I just encourage you to trust the power of small daily habits. They add up to have a massive impact. It's so much better than having an all or nothing mindset and trying to change everything all at once and then just feeling overwhelmed and giving up and feeling bad about ourselves. So trust the process, trust the power of these daily things, and look after your lovely self. And I will be back next week with some more things for us to think about. But let me know your goals and your word for the year. Let me know what areas you're going to be focusing on. I am cheering you on. My inbox is always open, and I will see you again very soon. Lots of love.